Hey guys, how you doing? It's Coach Hofman here for Elite Sports University. I'm here today again with Jordan and Aaron Zamzow together. This is like the super team here. And we're going to actually have a good conversation today on basically some of our experiences with training actually the old salty dog in the fire service. Welcome, Aaron and Jordan. How are you guys?
Great. Yourself?
Living the dream, right, Aaron?
Right.
Yeah.
Great. These are great. I get to talk to you guys. I mean, that's a great day right there, you know?
Get to share some ideas. So let me just start it off with this. You guys have been doing this, for quite a while now, and, also being firefighters and having a very great experience on the back end as strength and conditioning coaches, as well as fitness trainers. What are some of the obstacles, to train the older guy? We know Tarzan's easy. We know the young guy who wants to work out, or even the older guy who does work out. He's probably the easiest to buy into your program. But what do you do for the old salty dog that, stands off to the side when he comes to the drill and you have an education? What are give me some experiences, or stories that you guys can share with the audience on how you overcome those guys? Because in reality, that's who we need to get.
So I just, like I was telling you, I was at another department doing some departmental training for it was mandatory training. So it was mandatory training that the entire department had to go through. And one of the first things that I do is I acknowledge the fact that they're there because they have to be there. I acknowledge the fact that I've been on the other side of the table. And so what I do is I outline for myself what are their needs. You have to set up a quality preface. So I can go back a little bit also is one of the things that you have to do that people don't do though is you have to build rapport. You have to build it through respect. Because if you come in, I've had some people come to my training and tell me about my job who know nothing about me and nothing about my job. I'm a firefighter, right? But that person at the department, I'm a firefighter. I don't know them. I don't know their profession. I don't know their particular department. If I come in and I say I have all the answers, they're going to turn me off to me. I'm not respecting them. You take time to understand them. You take time to respect them. And from there, you build rapport. And then from there also, is I kind of set everything at ease. Because when you talk about fitness, people immediately take it as there's a lot of fear that comes along with that. Because you're going to make me do something that I don't want to do. So I have my own way, my own technique of calming that down to kind of relax it down and to say hey, this is what's going to happen, this is how it's going to move forward, and this is what's going to be. But then ultimately what can happen is even then there's times where you still have people, there's two different categories that pop up that I've experienced. One is the adversary. They're the person who's going to outright disagree with you, tell you you're wrong, tell you you're this, you're that, blah, blah, blah. And you know what that person is? That's my favorite person at the training. And I'm not even lying about it. I don't want to be in a room full of yes people. I don't want to be around that noise. You can be talking about, John, you're just talking about the need to adapt, right? If everyone's saying, bravo, 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 I'm in the wrong room. I want someone who's going to step up, who's going to challenge me, who's going to be like, you know what? I think that this is wrong. And guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to take my time and listen to that person. I had one training I was teaching, and a person basically says, you're talking about this and that and this and that and working in ideal conditions, blah, blah, blah. He says, that's not what we do. I just let him go. I let him go in. I went there with him. I encouraged it because he was going to the next thing we're going to talk about, with the importance of adapting to your environment. I said, you know what's going to happen? I said, you're going to become one of my trainers. So just right there in that instance, and another one I could go into some other ones of teaching, you make your adversaries your advocates. And the way you do that is through understanding them, respecting them, and developing rapport through that. Now, another person that you can have also is a person who's entirely apathetic. They don't feel anything. They don't want to be there. They just want to get you through it. I do not shy away from that person. I do not ignore that person. I do not ignore that they don't want to be there. What I do is I find ways to bring them into the room to engage them in the process. So,
that's great points. Actually, they are the two biggest, you had your adversary person as well as that person who doesn't want to be there. And they are two different strategies. You brought up a good point. Really what you're looking for is probing questions. I mean, this is where the sales side comes into the job. I mean, people think it's just about telling people to train. Sometimes you have to sell them to want to train. You have to ask probing questions. open-ended questions. Out there, and the rule of thumb is right. The person who speaks the least wins. Aaron, what about your experiences?
Well, I think Jordan touched on something right away that that you get. Sometimes that salty dog gets even more salty when you make something mandatory. Would you agree, Jordan?
I think choking on water. I think that's what it is. That yes, I would agree, and I'll let you go back to you. But at the same time, too, is I make sure people know that they have full control. I say you have full control. I said you have full autonomy. I said you can leave here anytime you want to. Now, does that mean you're going to get in trouble with your chief if you leave? You might. I'm not making you be here. That's your choice. I say, so nobody's here because you have to be. You can get up and leave. You can say, F you, Jordan, and be gone. And guess what? I'll say, okay, but you face the consequences. So ultimately, it is your choice. Go ahead, sorry.
Yeah. Well, and that's sometimes, though, what you get is people have a tendency to kind of put their dukes up a little bit when you make it mandatory, especially for that. I think for that seasoned vet that, and then another factor that goes into this is unions and how unions sometimes look at mandatory fitness training. So, I think one of the biggest challenges that we face is you got somebody who's got like a mandatory meeting and they're on their way out. And Jordan touched on it, and also, John, you kind of confirmed it, is open-ended questions, trying to bring what we're talking about back to them. And one question I like to ask kind of that salty vet, and I've had some great conversations with some of the kind of the older generation of instructors like John Salka, Chief John Salka, and Mike O'Brien. And I think a lot of them really are great advocates for health and fitness now, because they realize that, wait a minute, I want to enjoy my retirement. And I think back in the day, there was almost a mindset where the old veteran didn't look past the job. They didn't really look into retirement. And now we're living a lot longer. We have great benefits. And one of the ways that I think it's really hit home when I've done presentations is to talk about enjoying your retirement. Enjoying that pension that you've worked so hard to really, really get to. So, I think it's kind of a twofold thing and it's really confirming what you guys have already said, is when you get to that mandatory position, trying to ease someone's tension and get them off the defensive and try to really figure out what you can do or how you can kind of work together to bring that person in. And then secondly, what is to make the point, drive that point home that this isn't just about fitness for the job. This is about fitness for everyday living. It's for your grandkids. It's to enjoy life. So, sometimes if we're able to take a step back and make it more applicable to everyday life, we all have people on the department that like to golf or, do some other sport. And sometimes if you can hit with them and say, look, the functional stuff we do here will help you perform better in retirement, on the golf course, at trying to chase your kids. I think sometimes that's just that one kind of apple that gets people's attention, and it's just about reframing. And it is, John, it's all sales. It's all sales, man. It really is.
Here's the thing also, though, right, is what it is, though, is you're selling them on them. That's what my emphasis is on, is okay, so Aaron, the rig on your app that's in your firehouse, okay, how much does that cost?
What's that?
How much does the rig in your firehouse cost? How much does it cost?
Well, for us, anywhere from $500,000 to $750,000,
Ton of money, right? Ton of money. All the gear that we have, all the stuff like that too, all of that is stupid, pointless, meaningless without the firefighter.
Right.
It means nothing. Who cares about your rig? Your rig doesn't mean a thing. Your gear doesn't mean a thing. You don't have a firefighter who's in there. Now, at the same time, too, if we're saying that the firefighter is the greatest element and more valuable than all of these things, right? Why don't we have a training that emphasizes them? So we go out, we train, right? We train on a regular basis. We train on a regular basis to help who? Everybody else all the time. Now, you're training in a way that's going to develop skills that help you. Not just help you not help you, the firefighter, because guess what? Aaron, John, and myself, we are way more complex than firefighting. We are way more than complex than firefighting. The experience knowledge I have in instant command.
More complex though.
Experience knowledge I have in instant command and draws and extrication and on my reports or whatever, it means nothing right now. It means nothing at this very moment. As I'm here with my son, who just woke up from his bed, I grabbed him his milk earlier while I was gone, and it means nothing. But guess what? My health stays with me. My health still impacts me. So if we help our firefighters train health in a way they can understand that, guess what? It's not about you, it's about you, the firefighter. It's bigger than that. It's about you, like you stated, Aaron, also. It's about you, the hunter, playing with your kids. It's the uniqueness that makes you you, and knowing that health is going to help benefit all of those elements in a tremendous way.
Mm-hmm.
You know, guys,
you're not selling. If we're selling people fitness, shame on us. If we're selling them a program, shame on us. Shame on you, John. Shame on you, Aaron, if that's the case. What you're doing is you're selling them on themselves, to value themselves, respect themselves, and to care about themselves, and let fitness be an expression of that.
So I think one of the things I found interesting within this industry, it's evolving. And it's, just like a coach, any other coach, 20 years ago, you probably thought you made the greatest training program for yourself. And now you look back and go, man, that just sucked. I know so much more now.
Right.
And everything has a starting point. Everyone has to have a starting place, and then you move forward. And we as, fitness and wellness professionals, we are evolving. And one thing I think is being mixed up, and Jordan, you just said it, it is not just about fitness. And the message is getting kind of now blurred where everybody thinks it is. And we talked about it earlier. George Carvajal, who I think is a phenomenal coach and also a well-respected firefighter, said it best at the TSAC conference. You don't need to fight fire. We've been putting out fires for over 100 years. It's about health, wellness, and injury prevention, longevity. That should be the message. And I think that kind of hits home with what you both were saying. More or less, people are talking about fitness, and it should be more about health, wellness, and injury prevention or longevity, because we know the job is going to break them. It's just a matter of when. And, having that kind of we need to change the marketing. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I get what he's saying. The other thing is that there's not as many fires. I think in the old days, these guys were staying in shape by actually fighting fires every day, and they were staying active.
Right.
You have a diversity now when, we were just touching on it. You have different departments where you get, Sacramento, the city, or Chicago, the city, or Milwaukee, the city. They're fighting fires. They're doing calls. They're running all day long, whereas then you have some suburbs or other cities that aren't. So you have this long spectrum, this wide spectrum. So in a way, I agree with what he was saying. Was we've been doing this for years, but fires have changed a little bit. Also the way that they burn, the number that we've actually talked about, number of calls, and and Jordan talked about, we shouldn't be having to sell people on fitness, and I agree. But I also think, too, that sometimes, and we all know we've worked in the fitness industry for a long, long time, sometimes you just have to reframe and rephrase things. I'll take CrossFit, for instance. CrossFit, whether you like it or you're not, pros and cons, we could, that's probably another good radio, another podcast for us. But one thing that CrossFit, I think, really, really got people to understand is that fitness is hard. You need to work at it. And that's one of the positives that you can do. But now you look all around, there's CrossFit everywhere. And technically, what a lot of these people are doing isn't CrossFit, but what they're trying to do is get people involved in fitness and health any way they certainly can. So to go back to your statement is, in a way, the fire service is kind of behind the times when you look at the way that we've been training athletes. Like, John, you've trained athletes for 20, 30 years. And I'm sure you were a little surprised when you got in the fire service how a lot of people didn't approach their job like that, like training it, because we have been able to put out fires, long story, a long-winded way to say, I think that sometimes you need to almost market to people. And what I mean by market is to put it in terms that they understand, or that relate to them. And it's basically what, Jordan, you do every time you present, is you make it more about them. And sometimes we have to reframe terminology to make it more personable to who we're talking to. So yes, it's all about health and wellness. For some people, that's not sexy enough yet. You know, for some.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I think they do need to reframe it. I think we as coaches have to put it in a manner that actually reduces their fear.
Yes, exactly. Yes.
And I wholeheartedly believe that. And then the whole topic today is about the old salty dog and telling them that they need to work out with Orange Theory or fitness so they can do their job, I think sends the wrong message. Mm-hmm. And when you tell them, hey, as you guys just expressed, it is about longevity. It's about this. And, you know, fitness is a component. So is nutrition. So is, you know, this or that or you know, sleep. Sleep's the real killer.
Sleep is a huge thing, yeah.
And when they start to go at a micro level, yeah, fires are less, right? The firefighter spends 1% of his time throughout a career fighting fire. But so now you have to ask yourself, well, what's the call volume? Is it more EMS loaded or is it more fire loaded? So you can develop a program based on the department's needs.
Yes.
But it's really important that we do reframe that because
here's how we reframe it. Here's how we reframe it, right? Here's the thing is, what you need to do is we're telling people are so focused on being effective. Whatever I need to do to get the job done. Okay, Aaron, I want you to go climb a 35-foot ladder up to the roof. I want you to climb it upside down and backwards. You probably could do it. You probably could do it. It might take you forever, but guess what? You got it done. And unfortunately, a lot of times in the fire service, people are thinking about doing the minimum amount in order to get whatever done needs to be done. Go to a kitchen fire, right? You've got a burning pot, okay, on your stove. I just got done cooking some rice I forgot about. I fell asleep. Who cares? Whatever. Smoke's up place. Firefighters pull up and they smash out every single window in the place. We all know you don't have to smash out any of these windows. You don't have to do any of that. But you could say, well, you know, fire went out, so who cares? That's not good enough. You have to go from being effective to being efficient. So the person's going to say, we've been fighting fires for years. You are exactly right. Fitness will not make me better at fighting fires. Not necessarily. But what if you can be more efficient? What if you can do more with less, safer?
What
about find out?
Reduce your injuries.
That, and not to mention, too, one thing that gets forgotten about also is injury mitigation. Let's face it. I right now, okay, I hope the city is not going to be watching this. I have a strain to my right calf. Okay, a little strain in my right calf. You know why? Because I've been working on external rotation in my right hip. As a result, I realized that I'm so tight in my soleus gastrocnemius that I'm not able to actually get my feet kind of supinate the way it's supposed to. So as a result, I have to kind of work on it. Consequently, I'm stretching out my calf in ways it's not familiar with. So to say that people that we're going to prevent injury is good. We need to tell them also you're going to mitigate injuries. Because if I wasn't in the amazing and phenomenal shape that I'm in, this right here could take me out for months. I'm still able to function on it. I'm still able to move with it. I'm still able to work with it even. So the reason why is you also need to say, like, not only is it going to help you prevent injury, it can help reduce the severity of your injuries when you experience them. I would love to say that every single one of us can be bulletproof at some point in time. Not going to happen. At the same time, too, that salty dog who says, I've never worked out a day in my life and I can still put out fires. I'd say you're exactly right. Let me do this. Let me see how you climb a ladder. Close your eyes and look at climbing a ladder. And I guarantee he's got a 60% chance that he'll do it inefficiently. And I can show him within 3 minutes how he's doing it inefficiently and how he can do it more efficiently.
Now, with the salty dog, in my world, I mean, based on my experience, maybe I wouldn't focus on fitness with the salty dog because I don't want to go into that armed battle of I can do this job for 25 years and I've never worked out. And you know what? He's right because he's proved me that he has. So I would probably focus on, hey, how's your blood work?
Right.
And that's where I talk about health and wellness and leaving open-ended questions. You know, world-class athletes die of heart attacks too. So Tell me how your blood work is. When was the last time you got an annual physical? And so that, and I guess that's the real strategy, right? That's the juggling act that every coach who's working with firefighters has to do. What tool or what strategy do I apply with this individual, you know?
Right.
If I would tell him, hey, fitness is important, he'll say, yeah, kid, thanks, but I'm all good. And I lost him.
Right.
So I need to ask him a question that would make him think, oh, well, when is the
Number one
last?
thing you did too. Number one thing you did there too, John, is you said it a couple times, and I've been listening to you. I may not seem like it, but I'm listening to you at the time. But you make a reference to open-ended questions. That's what the importance is in understanding and respecting people. Because that salty old dog, guess what? He's not wrong. If we say like, no, you're wrong, I'm the expert, listen to me. It is, let me step into your world, understand your perspective, and learn about you. And from there, you can work together and you build rapport through that too. In addition to also is blood work is so incredibly important. There's no question about it also. And then you find what's valuable to them. But that's what you do. You find what's valuable to them. You ask what I do is I'll ask you, I say, if you had 24 hours to do anything you want to do without restriction, what would you do? People will say, you know what, I would go and travel the world. Okay, great. So where would you go? Where would you go? And find out from them. As a result, you find out that this person likes to have experiences. And you say, you know what, if you get your blood work checked out, the likelihood of you having greater experiences, enjoying those experiences more, and having a chance to travel somewhere else is greater if you don't get your blood work checked. So it's finding what helps that person tick, what's valuable to them, and speaking to them with a way that's not trying to manipulate, not trying to control them, but trying to help them in a way that moves forward. The last thing I'll say, and then unfortunately I have to step out. Because on time, we started a little bit late. Thanks, Aaron. But with that then is also for people, most people, they just want to move better. They just want to feel better. And if you can help them just to feel better and to move better, one. Right. And the thing is, progress breeds progress. Right. And so many times we're like, well, you need to be able to do this. If you don't do this, you're a bad human being. If you can't do this, no. How about this? Let's just help you get to tie your shoes and not feel uncomfortable. You can do that. I mean, that person's going to say, you know what? I wonder what more I can do. Progress breeds progress. If we get people that have just a little bit of progress, a little bit of success, it just opens up that much more. It's a climbing the ladder. The hardest part is what the first rung.
Jordan, I love that because I love that, and it is so true because I
said so many amazing things. I don't know what you're talking about. Sorry.
Progress leads to progress, and here's why I say that's a wonderful statement, especially in the fire service. Working in the academy, I've seen instructors lose their shit over recruits not being able to throw a ladder in the first 2 weeks. And I always go to them, if they knew how to do this, they'd have a job. It's your job to teach them.
Right. Yeah.
And then I go, yeah, you're right. I'm still stuck on the last class. I'm like, yeah, they just graduated. They know how to do it.
Right.
You have to hit the reset button, buddy.
Right. So.
But really, Jordan, all you're talking about, it's true for the recruit, it's true for the salty dog, is finding their why, finding how you can give them a better quality of life.
Absolutely.
Through what we know, which.
As a coach, what I find amazing, and I like to tell younger coaches is, I developed that skill set myself working in the personal training industry.
Yeah.
It was a great place to learn how to develop that skill set of making that connection. Mm-hmm. You don't always get that in the athletic world.
No. I'm so grateful for this, guys. Again, you've been a blast. Let me know if there's anything I can do for you, certainly. John, it's a pleasure. Aaron, it's a pleasure. I look forward to seeing you guys soon. And feel free to talk trash about me or whatever while I'm gone. But you guys are a blast, okay?
Take care, Jordan. Thanks very much.
Hey, give me a call. Let's catch up, Jordan.
You got it, buddy. You got my number.
Okay. See you, buddy. Yep.
All right, Mr. Aaron, so it's me and you, and here's what I want to do, because I just did this study, all right, the measures of health, fitness, and functional movement among fire recruits. First of all, tell me how this started, and, how did you guys evolve, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, actually, Jordan also would know quite a bit about this. So University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee has been working with the Milwaukee Fire Department for many, many years on just on trying to draw a correlation between firefighter performance and certain assessments and actually some psychology behind why certain firefighters can perform better and if there is a correlation. So I actually went over to Milwaukee, being from Madison, and got in contact with the professors there, Dr. Ebersol, who is was one of the professors behind this research. And they wound up coming out to Madison, where I do all my recruit training, and they started to do some assessments on recruits. And they would come out and do basically, a whole morning or whole day, almost like a combine with our recruits. And from there, we kind of just realized, first of all, we we kind of been training more functional. We don't, and you know how it is when you have a large class, you can't give them all a squat rack to work on, and you can't coach them all to do power movements, and you don't have enough resources nor time to get them all, doing the old, more traditional lifts. So we started to incorporate in just functional movement training, TRX, body weight stuff, some plate weights we had, and then doing more functional fireground stuff throughout their academy, even incorporating in air consumption drills once a week, and other timed events and timed workouts. So it was through the University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee. They came in, they did our original assessment. We did an 8-week, we did a 16-week, and they really learned that the functional stuff that we were doing really helps to improve performance. Now, you as a coach know that, and I as a coach and trainer know that, but when you can actually draw put the science behind it, I think it adds more validity to what we've been doing and actually talking about.
Right. I mean, you're connecting the dots here without just making blanket statements.
Yes. Yep. So that's kind of how this has been a great relationship for us. We've learned some things. One of the things that we got out of the research, which makes a lot of sense, but now you can draw a correlation to it. We were doing a lot of just planking movements only, in one plane, instead of also doing more side and oblique work. And through Milwaukee's research, Dr. Ebersol just said, hey, try to incorporate more, because that's where we're finding that, recruits are getting injured in what we call like the transverse plane, in twisting motions and movements. So we started to incorporate more planking and more controlled movements through those planes, and we're noticing that our numbers are slowly going down with injuries. Now, and Jordan touched on this too, injuries are going to happen on the fireground and off. I mean, it's just like any other professional sport. But training them more functionally through all different planes of movement has really correlated to better response to when injuries happen. They come back a lot faster. They come back more efficiently. So the research has been great. University of Milwaukee has been a great partner for us, and we try to get them in with every one of our recruit academies. It's been a blessing.
That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, for years, the one thing I've been telling people is firefighters don't necessarily need to plank as much. I'm not saying to take it out. I think it's great. Mm-hmm. But what we saw was a huge injury reduction were side bridges. And we need more. It's almost like the theory of twice as many rows for one press.
Yes.
Same thing. I'm like, we need twice as many side or transverse plane movements for every one plank that we do.
Yep.
And because of that and all the rotation and unequal loads really is a big part of it.
Yeah, you got it. Unbalanced loading is great. Is something that we experience. The other thing that we started to kind of, it's opened my eyes to do, is unbalanced carries in a controlled movement pattern. Yep. And that helps to transfer out, meaning like a one-arm farmer's carry or, one-arm. Yeah, right. Exactly.
Yeah. They're excellent exercises that should be in every workout, I think.
They should. And part of this too, the eye-opening thing for me personally was, we didn't have a lot of space. We didn't have a lot of resources. So I kind of went back and we looked through like, what are the motions that we do on the fireground? Crawling, stairs, twisting movements, carrying. So those are the things that we incorporated into their workout program on a pretty consistent basis, which I think we as fire rescue athletes do not do a lot of. And going out to the listeners, I would tell them, when's the last time you did a one-armed, walking farmer's carry or oblique plank or what you call side bridging or crawls? When is the last time you did any of that stuff on a consistent basis in your workouts? And if you're not, one thing maybe you can take from this podcast is start doing it. How about even, the old wall sit or the old squat hold, which, man, when you do one of them, you go, oh gosh. But if you're ever on a rescue scene where you're squatting down to try to get that patient out, you're like, wow, my legs are killing me. So there you go. Do that.
We're actually using the Cale Dietz's triphasic program right now with our guys, and we are actually in the isometric phase training model. And they'll do a back squat, and then they actually do a wall sit followed by a superset of a wall sit.
Yes.
We're going to isometric holds in this phase versus last phase was eccentric. And that is so important for them. And people, I guess I don't think people forget. I think either they don't know it was there or they're overwhelmed with all the other stuff that it just got pushed down to the papers at the bottom, you know, and you're like, oh yeah, I forgot about that. And that's the stuff that actually needs to be brought out. And that's great that you're saying that and teaching the other firefighters and giving them exposure. I mean, all else fails. I tell people when all else fails, farmer ball, farmer cares.
Yeah. Right.
Greatest thing you could do.
Exactly. And unfortunately, though, I think, and you could probably agree with this working with athletes, is they have a tendency to go back to the way they trained in their previous sport, which if I was a football player, you know, firefighting is different than football. It's different than soccer. It's different than, you know, than lacrosse or whatever you used to train for. And you got to change that mindset a little bit. We talked about marketing and reframing, and sometimes you have to correlate with what they did in the past to what they're doing now to get their mind set on it and confirm that this is the right way to do it, you know. And that's all part of it. That's why I like writing programs. And I would people will ask all the time, they're like, well, what do you do with fire rescue fitness? I said, well, I write programs. Well, and a lot of people go, well, I know what to do. And hey, great. I do too, but I sometimes forget about crawls, or I forget about how I can incorporate these in. That's why having these programs in front of you every once in a while helps, because you don't have to think about it. You know, that's where you've gone to school for 30 years and studied this. And I actually, you know, before I cleaned toilets, that's what I always say, before I cleaned toilets for the fire department, I was out there working with athletes, working with, you know, NHL members, NBA members, working with colleges, you know, trying to get enough money to pay rent, because there really isn't a lot of money in that as much as everybody thinks. But I was learning, and I know you can relate to it. But you know,
you're always learning. Even to this day, there's things that I go back and I go, you know what? Yes, a wall sit. Let's put that in. I haven't used that in probably 15 years, but it's
right. Your academy is gonna hate me, but that's all right. I'll take it. Right.
You know, and I think that's fun when you were talking about, you know, changing the program up or switching the mindset of a football player, you know, the good old Nebraska program of the 90s. And one strategy I found helpful is, hey, do that on Monday. Let's do unilateral on Tuesday, on Wednesday. How about that? You do yours and then you do mine, and see if we can't get a better balanced picture without telling them, yeah, you shouldn't lift like that, right? Because we know that's not a good strategy, because they'll get offended. They take it personal.
And it's worked for them. And in some cases, it has worked for them up to a certain point, you know. Right. But Jordan said too,
better without insulting.
Yes, yeah, and I agree, and that's the exact same thing I tell a lot of people too. A lot of athletes is, all right, you know, if you want to do your back and body workout, whatever you've been doing, let's do that on Monday. But then on Wednesday, why don't we incorporate some things here like crawls and more functional movements and active warm-ups and foam rolling. And then, you know what? I almost guarantee that you'll improve your Monday back and bicep routines, you know? And then there's slowly a lot more buy-in, and they start to feel better and see that performance. But, you know, we are stubborn, especially in the fire service, man. We are really stubborn. And, you know, relating this back to that salty vet, you know, they're at, you know, they might be 50 years old, but in the industry for 30 years, what they've done has worked. You know, now watching them move sometimes is painful, and they might be in pain, and they might not be moving as well as they could. So, you know, I think it's solely by giving them some of these things. And one example that I was going to say when Jordan was on with us is I had a lieutenant who was on their way out, meaning their last 3 years. You know, the fitness stuff wasn't a high priority until one day they saw me on the sorry about that. They saw me on the foam roller, and they're like, well, what is that? And I said, well, hey, Lieutenant, I said, this is one thing. Look, if you don't want to do the fitness stuff, try this. Because she, at the time, was having a really bad back. Well, 3 weeks goes by. She has her own foam roller. She's on it every day, and she's feeling a lot better. And now she starts to do some of our core stuff. And before we knew it, you know, she's now enjoying retirement, back pain free. So, you know, the stuff that we talk about, it can work for anybody. I think, you know, it's just like we were talking about, trying to find out that why and how we can help them, you know. And that's also the responsibility as a trainer, I think, too, like you were saying earlier, John. Great point.
So what's coming up in the future for you, Aaron? What's next?
What's next? So I'm actually working on we talked about a program and why sometimes it's nice to have it. It takes the thinking out of it. I'm developing an 8-week program for firefighters right now that doesn't involve a lot of equipment. We're going to use suspension training. We're going to use just some minimal stuff like a plate weight. You can do a lot of the workouts with a plate weight. And my intention is to give some departments that maybe don't have a lot of resources, or you look at some firefighters that want to do something at home, but they have kids, they don't have a lot of time. So I'm creating this 8-week program, and it's based off of the research that we found out from Milwaukee, the 5 years of having the other fire rescue fitness programs. So I'm excited to launch that. It's going to be just called FRF, Fire Rescue Fit, an 8-week program that'll help, not only improve / fire rescue fitness, and then also to we'll do kind of just some stuff in close proximity to fire rescue fitness, and then after we kind of work the kinks out, we'll launch it out. So I'm excited to do it. It's kind of it's really great talking with you guys, because I think it's one of those things that we all touch on. A lot of times we just need quick, efficient workouts for our guys, and gals. So.
Sometimes that's all you need is something fast, efficient, and it works. It doesn't have to be perfect all the time.
No. And so that's kind of the goal of it, and that's what we've been I've been working on, trying to do more video stuff. firerescuefitness.com, and we just got done with our Fit for Duty challenge. We had a guy, Joshua Falk, who lost almost 60 pounds, and I think he did it for 10 weeks, one of our programs. And we had a couple other participants. One guy from FDNY lost about 45, and and these are some, there's great stories. You can see them on the website. So we just awarded those, and was a real. We had over 100 different people send in their testimonials and before and after pictures, and it's been very overwhelming. So
dude, that's awesome, Aaron. A couple of people contacted me recently, and I was like, yeah, go with it, man. Great program, great system. It works.
It works so far. Yeah, I appreciate that, and all the support's been really great. It's pretty humbling. I know you've had that experience quite a bit as well, when someone sends you that email that says, hey, by the way, the stuff that you're doing and stuff that you've been teaching me has worked. And it's kind of why, I don't know, that's why I do it. And I always tell people when I present, I go, I'm like the Rudy of the fire service. Like, I don't know a lot about like fire attack and transitional attack, and there's a lot of smart people out there, but I know a little bit about fitness, and if I can help you, enjoy your career as a firefighter by teaching you some fitness things, then I'm just giving back to the service, and that's really all I wanted to try to do. So, which is why I appreciate the opportunity here, John. Honest is awesome.
Aaron, that's all you need is a good heart and the place in the right area. I mean, unfortunately, in this industry, I was telling Jordan earlier, I stay away from the rookies who are out to build their name versus actually do something well and trying to help others, because I'm seeing more and more individuals step into this field where I'm actually believing that they're going to do more harm than good.
Yeah. It's not an industry for self-promotion. No. From the standpoint of, I think if you're not genuine, like they'll eat you up here, and I'll be honest, I sell programs on my website, but I've had people contact me and say, well, if it's for firefighters, it should be free.
No, it should.
Well, and I'll even accommodate them. I'll send them. I have a free workout program, but I'll tell you that for the first 3 years, everything was out of my pocket. I was giving these programs away. Yeah. And you know what? Nobody took them serious. There was no buy-in. Right. And now I charge a little bit, like $15 a program every once, like for,
There's value behind it when you add money and they take ownership, actually. So.
And that's all I want is ownership. And that's why when someone says, hey, if it's great, send me a program, I'll say, I will send you whatever you want for free, but then you got to send me results. Yeah. You got to tell me that you're taking this serious, and in some cases it's been great, but a lot of times too it hasn't. So you know how that goes. But yeah, I think genuinely, I found the fire service later on in my life and my career, and now I feel fortunate every day. I get to talk to you and Jordan, and I'll be at Firehouse Expo in Nashville in October. I get to speak there, and so things are great. And anybody who wants some help, I'll help them out any way I can.
Well, I really love that, Aaron. It's always great to talk to you. Again, you can find Aaron's information at firerescuefitness.com. He has some great programming. He has some great information. He has some great competitions. If anybody's out there listening, I'm telling you right now, go there. It's going to be one of the top 5 areas that, if you were looking for firefighter fitness, is definitely one of the top 5.
Thanks, John. I appreciate it.
All right, Aaron, thanks for taking the time, buddy. I will definitely catch up with you again. If I can always be of assistance, you just give me a holler. I'm always there.
I will. I look forward to the next one. Let's do another one. All right?
Thanks a lot, Aaron.
Thanks, John. Appreciate it.